In California, if somebody is lawfully arrested for driving under the influence, they are required to complete a chemical test. That would be either a breath test or a blood test. And it's important to make a distinction between a preliminary alcohol screening test or a breath test that's typically done on the side of the road by the car that is not a post-arrest or after-arrest test. If you're not on probation, you're over 21, a preliminary alcohol screening out by the car in the field is a voluntary test. But the test after the arrest is a mandatory test. And if somebody refuses to take a breath test, then they would need to do a blood test. If they refuse a blood test as well, then we're looking at enhanced penalties in court, which means more severe penalties, stiffer penalties in court, as well as possible DMV action that can result in a rather lengthy license suspension. Here in Los Angeles County, most of the time, if not all of the time, the post-arrest chemical test after you've been arrested is done at a police station or at a hospital or maybe in a portable trailer if it's a DUI checkpoint. But there are locations, other counties and some cities, that actually will do the post-arrest chemical test, the one that you have to do, out in the field. They have special equipment that's specially maintained and calibrated and can be used out in the field. So we have to be real careful about saying that a test out in the field is voluntary, because sometimes it is and sometimes it's not. If somebody refuses or is unable to complete a breath test after they've been arrested and they refuse to submit or do a blood test, the Department of Motor Vehicles, the DMV, will attempt to suspend the license for 1 year on a first-time offense or longer if it's a multiple offense. And when we get to court, a lot of times the prosecutor, district attorney, or city attorney will be looking for increased penalties. They will actually charge the refusal as an additional allegation or enhancement, and many district attorneys will be looking for jail time, increased classes, increased fines, and longer probation terms. Generally speaking, if somebody is convicted of if they're convicted of a DUI and are found to have refused to submit to a chemical test, judges will impose a harsher sentence. So it's important that people know the difference between preliminary tests or field sobriety tests and the post-arrest chemical test. And when in doubt, you should just agree to do a blood test. We want to decline the opportunity to do a breath test. So it's very simple. You know you're going to be taken somewhere where there's a professional who's going to draw blood, or at least you hope they're a professional who's going to draw blood, and there'll just be one test. You do not need to do multiple tests, but if somebody is arrested, they do need to do a test, and I would recommend they do a blood test. So that's what happens if somebody refuses a breathalyzer.